baby shower. Clap for your world famous two-time champs and feel the power. It's a new day. Yes, it is.
It's Friday. It is Robe Talk Friday with no robe. But I do have some inside scoopage for you. Just waiting on the Instagram to hit right quick. Well, may not hit. So I guess it's just not going to hit. Let's see. Let's try again, see what happens here. we hitting the little save button. All right. We're sending the data. Well, too bad, Instagram. You're going to have to catch it on the back end. So Rashee Rice got caught up in a domestic violence accusation. And I have some insider information for you. His long time girlfriend and baby mama, Dakota Jones, Dakota, that's Dacoda, Dakota Nicole Jones, went on the Instagrams and decided that she was going to air out about the 8 years of alleged abuse from Rashee Rice. I honestly thought she was going to delete it. You know how it goes. You know, they post it and then they have a change of heart and they delete it. But she has not. She has not deleted it. It is still up as of today. So let me give you a bit of a timeline of what's been happening. And once again, this is not for me to try to influence you in any way, one way or the other. My job is just to make sure that you have all the information and then can have a informed opinion on what's going on, considering, depending on what happens here, could determine if we ever see Rashee Rice in the NFL again. So like I pointed out and she pointed out, they've been together, I guess, for 8 years. She was living or is living with Rice or was living with Rice in Kansas City with their 2 sons. It seemed like everything was going okay. But then at some point in the fall, they decided to break up, or Rice decided to break up with her. Rice was told around that time of the breakup, when he had moved on, I guess, with another lady, which we'll get to that in a minute, that Miss Jones had been cheating on him with a lifelong friend of hers. Rice said he was aware of the infidelity, but it has been going on throughout their relationship. But at this point, he had moved on, and if they wanted to be together, then they could be together. I actually have some graphics that I can show you about that. Just a simple DM text message that you can see right here. We'll put up on the screen that I vetted and verified. So it's no AI has not been faked or anything like that. You see someone got in touch with Rice, let them know that their boyfriend was messing with his ex-girlfriend. He said he's moving on. He's not dealing with that anymore. And he was going about his business. Now, the problem at this point was Dakota was still living apparently in his house or apartment or whatever it may be, and she wouldn't leave. Now, according to Dakota, she said that he was supposed to provide her with some cash, some money for her and the babies, so they could leave Kansas City and get to Texas. But he never provided the cash, so they didn't leave. At this point, Rice is like, I'm going to evict you. If you're not, I need you out of my crib. I'm going to evict you. That is not what triggered the post, though. What triggered the post, apparently, was Miss Dakota knew that Rice had a new lady. She had already accused him of infidelity throughout the relationship. But she knew that Rice had a new lady, but she didn't know who the new lady was, to my understanding. She was not aware who Rice was dating or getting to know a little bit better at that time. So when, I don't know what you would call her, a IG model, influencer, I'm not exactly sure. But when Ruby Rose, who had dated several athletes and entertainers and Drewski, came out with this photo of this individual showing that I guess they were going to yoga. I guess that's what the ladies wear to yoga these days. She tried to cover his face, but it is the year 2026. You cannot cover faces and think you're going to get away with it. It took the internet detectives approximately 10 minutes to figure out that this was Rashee Rice. I was told once Dakota figured out that it was Rashee Rice and Ruby Rose was his new lady, or at least the lady that he is dating currently, or whatever you want to call it these days, she was furious. She was enraged. Even though they technically, by all accounts, and by Rice's account, had not been together for several months, this just enraged her. I don't know what it was about Ruby Rose specifically that pissed her off, but that's when she decided that she had had enough. The Ruby Rose thing was the final straw. She could not take it anymore and felt like she had to speak her truth to social media. And then that's when she comes out with the very long Instagram post, maybe a couple of hours later, where she speaks about what he had allegedly had done to her, and let the whole world know about that. Obviously, once that hit the nets, once that hit the social media streets, it became obviously a big thing. Not just because she was accusing him, but also because she showed photos. This is the post that she made, the written post. So where she talked about the 8 years of abuse and she's finally had enough. And you can tell that she's a little upset about him laying up with the hoes. They came Ruby Rose. And that's what put her over the top. She just couldn't take it anymore. And she decided that she was going to expose him. And like I said, she exposed him with several photos of what she claims is the abuse that she took from him. Some photos of inside of the apartment where he allegedly damaged certain things. At that point, the NFL gets involved. The Chiefs get involved. and everybody is trying to figure out what's going on. Regardless of her motivation in coming forward, if what she is alleging is true, that is going to be a wrap for Rashee Rice in the NFL. If she can prove this abuse, and the NFL is investigating, that's going to be a wrap for Rashee Rice in the NFL. The Chiefs will cut him. He will be given a lengthy suspension and likely never sign with another team. And it'll be a Ray Rice situation, where Ray Rice was video. They caught him on camera, and they, once they caught him on camera, the Ravens cut him, and he just never got another shot, even though he was healthy and when his suspension was over. This is no video unless she has video that she hasn't turned over. But because of Rashee Rice's past and being suspended previously for the hit and run, they will drop the hammer, on him. Now, if he can prove that there is some sort of woman scorn, and she's just doing this out of spite and jealousy, it may pass. There has been no police reports. No one has tried to sue anybody yet. It is just something that's on Instagram. And Rice, to my understanding, is going to basically say just that. This is somebody that I've been with for a long period of time. I have kids with. She's making my life a living hell. She won't leave. I've tried to evict her. I got a new girlfriend. She's trying to mess up my life, and et cetera, et cetera. I've also been told that Dakota is being advised by Xavier Worthy's ex-fiancée, Tia Jones. If you recall, Worthy was arrested, allegedly for domestic violence. But then as they did some more investigation, come to find out he was the one that was being beat. She had stolen $150,000 from him, messed up his PlayStation, his Xbox, and he was the actual one being abused. He sued her. They settled out of court. Everybody made a nice statement and tried to move on with their lives. Now, maybe she's upset. Maybe she's bitter she didn't get what she wants. Maybe she doesn't like to see Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice out there playing ball, and she's feeding Rashee Rice's baby mama not great advice. But again, if what she is accusing him of is true, then it doesn't matter who's feeding her advice. He got to go. He got to go. So it's just a matter of who you believe. What do you think is true based on everything that's happened? We may never know. We aren't private investigators. We only know what we see and what we're going to be told. I do think this will have some sort of conclusion before the NFL draft, because the Chiefs are going to need to know if they need to pick up a wide receiver or running back. So, what do you think? Think it's just a woman scorn and upset that he's smashing Ruby Rose and left her with no money? And, she has no job. She has 2 children. She has no income. She seems to be dependent on him for everything. So, is that the reason that she did this? Or is he just an evil person? Now, his past suggests that he's definitely capable of doing these things. So you can't put it past them. But I would advise you just to wait and see how it all plays out. The Grizzlies are fed up with Ja Morant, and they're ready to trade him. And I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole. Listen, This is about name recognition and not at facts, right? You know what I'm saying? This is about name recognition and not facts. Because if you take away the name, a professor told me this a long time ago. He says when you are looking at a situation or trying to give an opinion on this, take away the names and just look at the situation. And if you take away the names, you try to take away a bit of your inherent bias or what bias they put on you, right? If you take away that it's Ja Morant and you really look at the last 3 years of his career, he's a good player, but he's not a great player. And he's not available. So when you're just a good player and you're not you don't want to trade the farm for them. He's not a good shooter. He gets suspended all the time. He's injury prone. It's quite possible his best years are behind him. He's been in the league since 2019. It's possible he's peaked. I know he's only 26 years old, and in theory, he should be at his peak. But if you look at every other 26-year-old superstar, this is when they start to rise. You see a rise in it. Go back and look at all of the superstars in the NBA. Like, look at Luka, right? You look at Luka Doncic, and he is 26. He's rising. It's getting better as he goes along. You look at what Jokic was. When he hit 26, he was rising at 26. He was just starting to hit his peak. Ja Morant is dipping at 26. And I don't know if you can come out of that dip. Now, if you can get him for a pack of a bag of Doritos like Trae Young, then by all means. But I wouldn't give up any draft picks. I wouldn't give up any good young players because at the moment, I don't know if someone like Peyton Watson will end up being better than Ja Morant in the next 2 years. Michael Porter's better than Ja Morant right now. There's maybe 50, 60 players that are better than Ja Morant right now. He hasn't matured. He keeps doing the same thing over and over again. He seems to be a detriment to his team. Now, I get it. Maybe a team can come in. They already got an established culture, an established superstar. They feel like they can harness him in. But is he somebody that's going to want to be harnessed? This guy's not Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson was great for like a decade before things started to go off the rails. This guy was great for 2-3 years. And that's not even counting the money. You got to pay him $44 million. If I'm paying $44 million, you got to be elite. If I'm paying you that type of money, you're putting my cap situation in strain. You got to be elite. Tell me who you trust more right now. Ja Morant or Jamal Murray? You understand what I'm saying? I wouldn't do it. I would just. There's other players that are available that are better, and those are the players that you should be looking out for. Good for Ja Morant. He got a lot of money. He's made generational wealth. His dad thinks he's Usher. That's great. But as far as trading, I wouldn't do it. Everybody think Miami's a good fit for you. You really want Ja Morant and his daddy in Miami? In South Beach? Do you? You know the whole, what they call the heat culture? Well, not the Patriots way. What do they call it? The heat check. Yeah. He ain't won nothing since LeBron left. Okay, let's be honest. Let's just be honest. The Heat are great. The Heat culture, Pat Riley, they ain't won jack since LeBron left. They've, you know, they get bumped up for being 8 seeds and playing well in the playoffs. Maybe if you were the 1 seed, you would win some of these. The Heat culture, I don't believe in that. I believe good players, good coach wins championships. They don't have enough good players. That's why they haven't won any championships. I don't think you think so. Pat, you think Pat, 97-year-old Pat Riley is going to come in there and tell Morant and his daddy what to do? You think that's what's going to happen? Was Trae Young under? Probably. But once again, he's always hurt. Availability is a thing. Yeah, I never believe in the Patriots way. The Patriots always had criminals on their team. I mean, they had Aaron Hernandez. The Patriots weren't special. There was no Patriots way. The Patriots wasn't better than any other team. They had Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. That's why they won. As simple as that. There's no Patriots way. Hey, especially they were in court half the time. They're cheaters. The Patriots way. I hated that. I hate when people say that. The Patriots have a special culture. No, they was cheating. They had Tom Brady. They had Bill Belichick before, he became a sugar daddy. That's why they won. They were better coached than most. It's no say. You don't have to be a good team. I mean, you have to have good people on your team, like good persons to win games. You have terrible people on your team, evil people on your team, and win championships. That's facts. Actually, some people believe the worse your people are, the better they play, because they're crazy. Aaron Hernandez was shooting up the club and scoring a touchdown same week. No problem. Easy work. Easy work. Stephon Diggs, your 7 girls knocked up. Still get 1,000 yards. Easy work. Easy work. That don't mean anything the Patriots way. No, it ain't no Patriots way. It's just good coaching. So when Patriots are back, well, they got a good quarterback. You draft a good quarterback, you're gonna be okay. That's like saying the Texans way. Ain't no Texans way. They just drafted C.J. Stroud and got a good coach. They drafted C.J. Stroud and that linebacker, got good defense, and boom, you're back. The Nuggets way. No, they got Jokic. The Heat culture. No, they had LeBron and D Wade. And they still only won 2 out of 4. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. How you doing, Chris? Mike better be careful, man. Listen, I love Michael Irvin. Michael Irvin was my favorite player when he growing up. Him and Deion Sanders. And you know how they say never meet your heroes. So let's just say Mike is still my favorite guy. I love Michael Irvin. But he gotta be careful, man. I know that he doesn't mean anything, but he's just a happy, energetic, loving, take the shirt off his back type of guy, right? But there's evil people in this world, and they already messed up one gig for him by him just being friendly. So I just need Mike to be careful. I don't need no Miami cheerleader going to Tony Busby or something saying that, he harassed her or something like that. You just gotta be careful out there, especially with the milk. You gotta be careful. You have to be careful with the milk. I like Mike having a good time and belt the ass. You see him on all these shows. He's having a renaissance. I like to see him at Miami. Even though they beat my Buckeyes, I'm still a fan of the U. I grew up on the U. I grew up on Michael Irvin. I grew up on Vinny Testaverde and all of those guys and Ed Reed and whatever, But you just gotta be careful. You gotta be real, real, real careful. Because that milk will turn on you. This is Trump America. That milk will turn on you. And I don't want him losing. He's, like I said, he's having a renaissance right now. He's in a good spot. I know there's a lot of people want him for Super Bowl and other things. He's doing great. Just be careful, man. Be careful for the milk. Be careful for the milk. I don't want nothing to happen to Big Mike. I think Mike, too many of our brothers, no matter what you think of them, have gotten caught up. And they listen, I'm telling you right now, they don't want certain brothers to have too much power. But we can't give them an opportunity to make that happen. You see what I'm saying? It's like they already don't want to do it. Don't make it easy on them. Thankfully, we got some videos and pictures, but don't make it easy on them. Did you watch that Chappelle special? He was talking about Jack Johnson and the Mann Act and how all of these years later they hit Diddy with it. Because not the thing that people don't like Diddy about is not the freak offs, it's the abuse, right? You saw the abuse of Cassie, the physical abuse of a woman. And that's why people don't like Diddy. But the freak offs were pretty much legal, okay? But they can use the law and manipulate it to get rid of black people they want to get rid of. It's like the Ricos. You know, the Ricos used to be for the mob. You know, they try to get the Italian mob and all that stuff, but they started using the Ricos on the rappers, even though the rappers have no crime organization. You know, there's rappers. Maybe they were in a gang, maybe they sold some drugs, but these are supposed to be for like legit crime organizations. But that's how they get rid of the rappers now. They throw a RICO on them and it's like blanket coverage. It's like putting people in a 8-man zone. There's so many loopholes in it that it's hard to get out of. So you got to be real careful when your voice gets too big. You know, I hate what happened to Shannon Sharp because he didn't do anything illegal. It's just the perception of it all. And I'm glad I'm glad Ocho and there stayed mom and there. Happy birthday to Ocho. You know, when sometimes you got to take a look. You forget the person, right? Once again, just look at the situation. Sometimes you got to extract yourself from the person and be like, why are they doing this to him when the president is on the Einstein list? Those are freak offs, but he's the president, and the other guy's in jail. This is just something to think about. If you could talk to Isaiah. Look, man, sometimes there are certain people you're going to have a grudge against for life. I think we all do, right? So I wouldn't tell him anything. He hates Michael Jordan screwed him out of the dream team. It's as simple as that. And he can't get over it. He just can't get over it. And I can understand that because Isaiah Thomas at that time was legit. You know, he's a legit guy. And he should have been on the dream team. And Mike didn't let it happen. And even though it's, 30, 40 years later, he cannot let it go. And he also knows that he whoops Mike's ass a few times. Like straight up in Mike's prime. And Mike kind of gets a pass for it because they're like, well, he didn't have the teammates. But, no, that was Mike's prime. If you look at Michael Jordan's stats, when Isaiah Thomas was kicking his ass, that was Mike's prime. I mean, we have to be honest. The Bulls won in what 91, and in the years that or 90, and the years that Mike was averaging 35 and 32 and 33, 40 minutes, they was whooping his ass. And it wasn't like the Bulls was bad back then. In '88, they weren't bad back then. That team was not awful. It wasn't like Mike at that time was on a team that was going like 41-41. You know what I mean? So he has a point. He whoops Mike's ass in Mike's prime. This wasn't like the Celtics when the Celtics was whooping Mike's ass. Because back then they weren't that great. But like in '89, let's see, in '89 the Bulls were what? Let me see here. '89 Bulls. This is 26-year-old Mike in his prime. It's 55-27. That's look, man. That's Phil Jackson, Mike. 80, 89, 90. 55-27. Had a offensive rating of 5th, net rating of 9th. I mean, they were good that year. If you're 55-27 and the other team is 59 and whatever, it's straight up. They straight up whooped you. In his prime. In '88 and '89, what were they then? Like I said, this is 25-year-old. He was unstoppable back then. 47-35. He cooked them in his prime. So I get it. He wants people to recognize that he cooked Michael Jordan in his prime. And he wants to recognize that Michael Jordan was a hater. And, didn't let him get on the dream team because he didn't like him. Some grudges are deserved. And you got to hold on to it for life. I'm not going to hate on Isaiah Thomas for that. Some beefs you want to get over, before it's too late. I think I would like Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley to make up at some point. Like they should probably make up. But it wasn't like Zeke and Mike were ever friends. And don't forget, also, and I did some research on this. Zeke is from Chicago. And I heard that, when Mike got to town, Zeke made sure he was all right. Knew where to go, knew where not to go. Basically told people, hey, this ain't Mike, and I'm sure, he was going to be Michael Jordan, so eventually he was going to be fine anyway. But still, he didn't have to do that. Hey, Mike, here's a restaurant to go to. Hey, there's some people, you might want to stay away from. All right, Zeke, took care of him when he first got to Chicago. So I understand. I'd be pissed off. There's certain people in life that did you wrong that you did right by. And you can forgive, but you don't forget. Like there are just certain people in life you did right by and they did you wrong. And there's just nothing that's ever going to happen that you're going to get over. So you just shouldn't try. You shouldn't try. I guess you can do like a no comment or whatever, but he wants to talk about it. He's an old man now. What is he going to do? So I get it. Yeah. I've heard the story. At first I was like, that sounds weird, but then I asked some people and like, yeah. He was when Mike first, it wasn't beef when they first got in the league. But Mike didn't like the fact that they walked off the court without shaking hands. Mike was big into sportsmanship and all of that stuff. He didn't like the Pistons. He didn't like the Jordan rules. He didn't like the way that, they were, handling them. And Mike's way of getting back was making sure he didn't get on the dream team. Some beefs are lifelong, man. Superman and Lex Luthor are never gonna make up. No matter how, they're just not gonna make up. With Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen, some stuff just not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. I never forgive Michigan for cheating. because it took away from the rivalry. Like if you beat us straight up, like you did the 1 year with cheating Sharon, I can respect that. I can respect. I can tip my cap. Miami whooped us. Indiana whooped us. Old boy was like OHF, Ohio State. I can respect that. You beat us straight up. Hey, there's nothing you can do about it. You talk, and you can talk your shit too. You belt the ass. You can say we was soft. To the winner goes the spoils. But don't cheat though. Be a man. Let's just play straight up. See, I'm not one of those people get sensitive when the other team wins, and then they start the fan base starts talking trash. No, I'm not sensitive to that. If you win, I mean, as long as you're not talking about my mama, as long as you're not using the hard ER, as long as you're not cursing at me, you're not calling me out name or anything. Yeah, you can talk trash you want. You won. You know what I'm saying? You can talk all trash you want. I'm gonna try to get Sharon another job. I am. I see what they're doing to him. Once again, another brother. The thing that bothers me about the Sharon, and I've probably done more research on this than anybody else. And what I found out, which is disturbing to me, is that everybody knew. I mean, everybody knew he was smashing. The players knew, the neighbors knew, the coaches knew. I mean, she was his administrative assistant. I mean, it was like Mad Men. So I understand why he flipped out. Also, I found out Sherrod does have some legit mental health issues like anxiety and some other weird stuff like that. I hope he gets checked out. But I can understand why he flipped out. Because imagine you was having an affair and the whole neighborhood knew about it. And then all of a sudden somebody was like, oh man, we got to kick you out because of this affair. Like, for 2 years. All of a sudden I lose one game to Ohio State. Just one. Even though he cheated, but like on the record, just one. And they're like, you out of here. And here's the thing. This is my opinion based off my research, is that the reason they fired him had nothing really to do with Ohio State. Had nothing to do with old girl, even though she flipped on him. Cannot trust that milk. She flipped on him. The reason that they got rid of him because the donors, the NIL guys, didn't like him. I mean, they didn't like him because what they had heard, but they're like, well, if he's the coach, our wallets are gonna be a little tight, and that's all they needed to hear. So they got him an old white guy. Got him an old white guy. The money comes back, and they're back in business. But he just young. I hope he gets another shot. I actually think he's probably a good coach. A little too much too soon. And Harbaugh dumped all this trash on him. That's what white people do sometimes. Harbaugh left making $8-10 million with the Chargers going to the playoffs and just left Sharon there to clean up his mess. So I do feel a little bad for him. But you gotta watch out for that milk. Unless it's Trish Stratus. But she's married, so you don't have to worry about that. If Trish Stratus is okay. I'll allow that. Maybe Margot Robbie. Maybe I'll allow those. But that's it. No more milk for you. You guys have a blessed weekend. Here's who I got. Hold on. Let me give you my predictions. I like Oregon tonight. No real reason except I think, the Indiana stuff is getting out of control. I know that's not an in detailed breakdown, but sometimes just look, when we're picking games, it's just a feeling. No, we're not. Nobody's experts. We're just guessing. We don't know what's going to happen. Anything can happen. Somebody could turn their ankle in the first play, change the whole dynamics of the game. So who cares? We're just guessing. Anybody that tells you an expert when they're making picks are lying to you. So whatever. So I like the Rams. I will say that the 10-point line is a little high. If you're feeling lucky, I don't like to gamble. But that plus 10 for the Carolina looking pretty sweet. I actually like Chicago. I think Green Bay, they got a lot of injuries. think at home, Chicago, I think everybody's gonna be riled up. I always told people Caleb Williams was always gonna be fine. Just needed a good quarterback. Ooh, the Buffalo and Jacksonville game. That's very, very interesting. Buffalo a slight favorite. I just don't think Buffalo has really been a good team for like I don't know how to explain it. Yes, they're a good team by record. They just don't, they got Josh Allen. He's great. They got the running back is great. The defense has been They don't really have any playmakers, but it is Jacksonville. But Jacksonville has been good at home in the playoffs when they do get there. I'm gonna go with Jacksonville. I'm gonna go with Jacksonville. Like Philadelphia, the 49ers just got way too many injuries. The Chargers and the Patriots are tough. What's that weather gonna be like? I'm gonna go with the Patriots just because they're at home, and I like Houston to beat the Steelers. I don't think the Steelers or the Ravens really were any good this year. We got to make that change though, where there's no reason that Houston should be playing at Pittsburgh and the Rams should be playing at Carolina. That's just ridiculous. They got to change that rule. You guys be safe out there. It's just 2026 now. The holidays is past, so I don't know what we're gonna do. You just, but you guys and be safe. No drinking and driving, none of that good stuff. Get you some wings, and have a good weekend. I gotta take down these Christmas lights. I'm hungry myself. Just last comment here about Mendoza. Listen, I just tell you this. It was just go by college tape. Mendoza's not better than what Shedeur Sanders was in college. And I say this with if Shedeur Sanders was on Ohio State, the year they won the national championship with Will Howard, they would have went undefeated. I think he's a safe pick. I think he may be one of those quarterbacks that is in the league for 10 years, but I think he has one of those Derek Carr ceilings. I think he's gonna be around. I don't think he's gonna be terrible. I think he's perfect for college football. I'm not even getting into that whole game changer, game manager. So I just think he's perfect for college football. He has a good personality. He reminds me a little bit of JJ McCarthy. Like the mindset is there, but I don't know if the actual talent to play is there. So we're gonna see. The Browns don't have the first pick, so they don't really have to worry about it. But if I was the Browns, I would just stay with Shedeur and try to tighten up some other stuff. The Raiders had the first pick, and I mean they need a quarterback. I know they're going to look at Dante Moore if he decides to come out. I don't know if either of those guys are the guy, but they got to get somebody in there. And maybe the Raiders need somebody. They're the Raiders, so maybe they need someone like Mendoza who is like Tim Tebow with a better arm. But we